Now, the rest of the story. Away from the headlines and the television cameras, down in the shadowy realms where U.S. foreign policy shakes hands with the devil, there will forever be a fascination with the case that we're about to discuss, about a handful of Americans living overseas, acting independently perhaps and for their own reasons, or perhaps the United States government did itself carefully, quietly engineer the overthrow of a friendly monarchy. The kingdom's queen surely suspected the latter. The queen was an able administrator. Although having ascended her throne only a year previous, her hold on the government was less firm than it might have been. Thus, on the evening of January 16, did her people peer out from behind cracked doors in disbelief to witness the invasion of American troops. Now, this is something you never saw on the 6 o'clock news. But there, in part, is the evidence for intentional seizure by the United States. Now, wait a minute. We now know that American Foreign Minister John Stevens called in the Marines, not, it would seem, on orders from our president, but he called in the Marines at the request of a small group of American businessmen who resided in that foreign country. In fact, it appears these businessmen had been plotting the overthrow of this government for almost a year. The Queen, they said, had been uncooperative, too independent, they said, of American concerns. There will always be those who insist there was a conspiracy, that the United States had plotted for years to bring this kingdom under its control, that the businessmen were simply part of the plot. But in either case, the invading American troops, regardless of whose orders brought them in from the USS Boston that day, were now quartered at Arion Hall in the nation's capital, only a short distance from the Royal Palace. Directly across the street from Arion Hall was the government building, which in hours would be seized and occupied by the American businessmen. And from there they would demand the Queen's abdication. They would declare martial law. American Foreign Minister Stevens would respond by giving diplomatic recognition to the kingdom's new government. And before any of the Queen's subjects could fully grasp the significance of what was happening, it would have happened. One moment their country's flag was flying over the government building, and the next moment the Stars and Stripes. The President of the United States, while refusing officially to declare the kingdom an American possession, nonetheless also refused to assist the Queen in restoring her monarchy. And within 5 years, her original native-born subjects were a minority in their own country. What you've just witnessed is the death of a nation, January 1893, away from the headlines and the TV cameras, down in the shadowy realms where U.S. foreign policy shakes hands with the devil. There was a military overthrow, and its swaying fronds and soft music have somehow perfumed the unhappy past. Don't let it be forgot that once there was a spot where ruled a capable and dignified queen named Liliuokalani. It was a kingdom of islands called Hawaii. Now you know the rest of the story.